This podcast contains descriptions of extreme violence, body horror, and adult language. Please check the description for details. Viewer discretion is advised. Asura, well, Hyde, you finish taking out the last swarm. The butterflies disperse, seemingly disappearing up the stairs. And, you've also managed to avoid ever doing any of your area attacks inside of the basins, which has, which I guess is reflective of who you are as Dredge, but yeah, you are getting a good sense of what Vex is good at, and you can imagine that with just a little extra something, a little extra training, she's not gonna be just a threat. She is gonna be like a real big deal. And you can't help but feel a little embarrassed, Asura, for being like bound the entire time, but you certainly did some work, although you feel a little annoyed that you haven't gotten to punch anyone yet.
Oh, she's very annoyed. Yeah.
But yeah, have at it. Hyde, you are notably worse for wear. Your arms are basically fucked.
Yeah, Hyde pauses a moment, and they kneel down slightly as they seemingly reach down into the pieces that they carved from Godman, and they literally just start to eat. And some of the snakes go in for it as well, as I'm going to invoke Feast of Flesh.
Oh yes, that fun little gothic ability, which basically just lets you regenerate your basic parts.
I'm gonna invoke my skill, eels eating pizza.
Straight up!
I mean, yeah,
Straight up, dude.
As he, like, eats and consumes, pretty much, like, his body begins to refill itself, and like the red like scale like substance begins to go over where his arms were torn open, broken, shattered to pieces. That part where his leg was faltering, his stomach begins to fill back in, and you know, of course his abs go back in to fit it because that's his bodily image, and even that deep cut on his face comes back as he takes a stand.
And, oh, Vex, you also have a special part. You have Junk Part, which lets you repair all of your basic parts on your foot.
Yeah, in that case, that would actually, I actually wouldn't need to repair the foot. I'll just repair one of the entrails then.
Cool. Yeah, the impressive distinction here between Vex and Hyde's regeneration being that Hyde has to eat flesh in order to regenerate. And by the time he's done, Velx's body is basically just gone. There is basically just bones left in certain key parts, and it is pretty nasty, just some of the teratoma-like vines which are left behind, but it's enough that Hyde can get himself back into perfect condition, which once again lends credit to Hyde's reputation for being pretty much unkillable. Vex, you, however, despite not healing fully, you feel that the panic that was in your nervous system before settles down as it realizes that no longer is it in immediate danger, and with no additional input, with no additional energy source or anything, it just fixes you up, which is just kind of crazy. yeah, you are left amongst the gore.
As she's on her knees, there panting, Asura, while Hyde is busy, would see that the rest of her body, the marks left by the butterflies are so minute and so numerous that it's taking a bit for her wounds to really regenerate there, but it is still happening. Meanwhile, in her legs, her femurs start vibrating, and her legs are regenerating even faster than the rest of her body.
Yeah, she, like, puts, a set of her arms on her hips, looks at Vex regenerating, and regenerating faster than Hyde, as her, eyes go between them, then land to rest on Vex. So that's what he was talking about, huh?
Who?
Hyde. Just points to him. He was saying you were regenerating fast before, but I didn't see it. You were facing away from me.
No.
Well, let me tell you, it's certainly something. She, walks over to Vex and sort of, kneels down a little bit to get, like, a closer, like, personal look at, like, literally the femurs reshaping themselves.
Well, the parts in my legs are different from the rest of it. She really looks like she's having a hard time, like, fully calming down, like, just the adrenaline and the pain of just all of this. She's taking pretty haggard breaths.
Vex and Asura, could you please both make me conversation checks?
Alright.
If you get above 6, you get to clear a bloodthirst. Neither of you get to clear a bloodthirst.
We're both in the fucking haze.
You all get to clear a bloodthirst just by virtue of your treasures.
Thank God.
I think, honestly, she's in such, like, an adrenaline-induced state that as they kind of, like... Is Asura, like, close?
Yeah, at the moment.
Vex kind of murmurs to herself, looking up at Asura, but also not quite meeting her gaze. Before we get out of here, if I am damaged to the point where it looks like I'm down for the count, get the fuck away from me.
She holds on that for a second. Got it. Mind telling me why?
I do mind.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hyde, it's at this point that your snake's hungers are sated as they retract into your entrails and your body and contentedly stir once more as your body is restored back to its natural beauty, and you are present.
I got careless.
Yeah, plenty careless. Thought that the agreement there was that I was gonna take on that guy, huh?
I was gonna take on the runner. Then they trapped me in the corridor. Didn't see you coming to help. Looks like we swapped roles pretty effectively, though. So, you two did well. Godman got away. But I tore off his arm, so I'm sure they've got some means of regeneration up there, if they can't do it themselves. But next time there'll be all of us against him.
Yeah. When we fight him next time, I'll make sure he doesn't get away again.
It's pretty clear that, I still need more practice and a few upgrades to keep pace with you two. So, I'll let you handle that guy. I'm pretty sure he'd tear me apart.
Don't give yourself too little credit.
You're really something, Vex.
This isn't me just trying to butter you up so you have a better opinion of me. Now that Asura is doing it, they turn their head away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, alright. She, yet again, like just crosses arms, looks away from Hyde.
Hyde and Asura make a conversation check, and Hyde and Vex make a conversation check.
Okay.
Okay, Rosche and Soleil, you may clear a bloodthirst. And Vex and Hyde, if you would repeat.
No!
Oh dear.
She's very much caught up. It looks like Vex just looks like that twisted combination of incredibly exhausted, but like cannot rest. Like she is in it right now. The adrenaline is pumping through her, and her eyes are still quite red.
To a certain extent. Also, getting back into business. Hyde looks down to Velx's unremaining and sorta kicks the ground. I don't think sparing her was the right idea. Though, wish we could have gotten more out of her. The most important part is, at the very least, we know their leader is the one controlling these butterflies, and his name is Azul. If he gets out of this, we can at the very least keep an eye on that.
Hyde saying all that, going for it. Asura, well, in the middle of, like, Hyde's sort of, like, postulating on exactly, like, Azul, Azure, butterflies, I get it. He's controlling them. If we get up there, we stop him, all that stuff. Like in the background, like, Ashura's, like, getting closer, and right as he finishes that last sentence, she kind of, like, bumps him on the shoulder, knocks him aside, kind of a deal. Alright. Big shocker. Get the leader, stop the whole of them. Any other observations there, pal?
Just preparing for if they take flight and get out of here. That name goes out, surely they wouldn't show their face anyways, but if it does, if that name shows up, we'll know where to bring the hammer down sooner.
Vex, come on. We gotta keep going.
As she says that, she turns and Vex is already standing up, walking forward towards the stairs.
Quick to it, are ya?
You continue onwards. All of you looking pretty well off, aside from being, frankly, aside from Hyde, pretty damn hyped up on adrenaline and tensed up. You can't really imagine what's coming up next, but you know it's gonna be gonna be something. And you keep going. You go up the various flights of stairs. You look for an escalator, an elevator at some point, but unsurprisingly, it seems that they have been purposely put out of order, electing instead to force people to make their way up in a predictable and slow manner. And you climb the staircases, and the architecture of the building begins to change once more. In place of enclosed areas with no windows and UV lights shining on basins, instead it gives way to daylight. Something which you weren't necessarily expecting, but it makes sense. You're hitting the top of the tower after all, and you start to go upwards and realize that the entirety of the top of this building is like a lattice work of glass, allowing in as much natural light as they can manage in order to allow the precious few actual, like, bona fide plant life to be here. It's still not anything wild like trees or anything. You can't grow trees indoor, not with such shallow soil, but they are these beautiful separated balconies of just bushes and shrubs and berries and all sorts of things. These are the luxury items that you can get hold of. Some of you do, even sometimes as treats. Fruit. Bona fide fruit. Nothing crazy, but sweet as you can imagine. You've had it a couple of times in the past, and you've savored it, and it's all here. This is one of the places where it comes from. The tiny fraction of the city that allows for something as water-hungry, as light-hungry to exist. The smallest amount of what feels like the genuine outdoors. Even the most battle-hardened of you, even the most cynical, can't help but feel this strange sense of peace and just being reconnected with nature. I would like everybody to please clear a bloodthirst. And it's as you make your way through here that you realize that, somewhat unfortunately, ruining the mood, the atmosphere of this so hard to come by, visual in this drab cement city, is the largest concentration of the blue butterflies that you have seen. They are everywhere. Some bushes you initially missed, you're like, why the fuck is that blue? Before you realize it was just absolutely coated in the things, more than you can imagine. You stride by them and they take off and lift off into the air, and glinting in the daylight, it's almost beautiful if it weren't for what you know they're capable of. You carry on, nonetheless, across some bridges and into a fairly open area where you are once again greeted with a sight that you had hoped to have left behind on the bottom floor. Now devoid of the mycelium is the strange flesh-like pillars now planted in direct anathema to the rest of the plant life around you, and it is grotesque. It looks like bonded flesh of actual corpses, some of them still writhing and wriggling, but these seem to be some kind of, maybe even centers to this effect of whatever they had going on downstairs, and they also are enwreathed in trailing bells going all the way down them. And in this room, you finally recognize as well that the sounds of the fluttering wings are actually matched up with the clinging of bells that are hanging from the various bushes and shrubs and plant life being knocked against by the constant movement of these butterflies. And it's where you see, and that's where you see the additional figures and what you can only assume are the people behind this. Two familiar faces. Godman, lying in the center of these pillars of flesh, being tended to by the other familiar face, the one that you all glanced on the bottom floor of this facility. The strange feminine body with no other defining features beyond its physicality, all warped and twisted into the same fleshy visage that these gruesome flesh pillars are as well, and her eyes misplaced, one on her head and another one on her chest, both glaring intently down at their work, as she stitches new parts onto Godman, who is snorting and yelling and frustratedly screaming incoherently in the background. Not enough to be coherent, but enough to be distracting, as you see that she's essentially pulled off the parts which were damaged and is now crafting. She peeks up at you and recognizes you. You see the bells attached to her fingers moving alongside her quick work, and she glances up toward who you can only imagine is the one you're here for. Sitting on what you can only describe as a throne of bounty is the cracked flesh and strange humanoid insectoid colony, which in and of itself you almost don't recognize as a person, with just how many butterflies are attached to it, are just flying off from them. Their head, the top half, almost entirely obscured, and you can only see from the neck down. And enwreathing their shoulders and their arms like some kind of twisted coat made of living insectoid life is the blue carpet of these butterflies. And lazily, and somewhat almost dismissively, they turn their head towards you. And they go, "Welcome. Welcome, Dredges. We are pleased to have you here. Please, allow us parley." Hello everyone, and welcome back to another break. I hope you've been enjoying it, and as per the usual, I will direct your attention to the screen if you're listening to this on YouTube, as that is where our fan art will be. Before we do anything else, let's go ahead and get the new prompted characters out of the way. We have Azul, who is from Sean B's prompt, and Nissa, who is from Roob's. Thank you so much for providing the prompts that made those characters. Right. As per the usual, let's get to the shilling. So, if you've been enjoying Heart of Hope, and you want to get ahead of things, as well as maybe just wanting to support me, then you can do both of those things over on my Patreon, over on patreon.com/eternal_savvy. Again, that is eternal_savvy. For as little as $1 a month, you will be able to get hold of an episode ahead of time, and you will also be supporting me in order to make more of this show. At the moment, the money that I am getting from Patreon is pretty much going towards new and unique music produced by human composers. I've got a couple people on my list who I will be slowly making my way through, and of course the more I have, the more unique music I can commission for this game, and maybe even future games if it goes particularly well. But yeah, no, that is the place to support me. But if you can only do a one-time option, then you can do that over on Ko-Fi, the same and if you want to support me more on the Patreon, then you can do so if you just want to be super cool. But one way or another, even the smallest amount of $1 a month is going to get you that extra episode, and is still going to be a massive help to me. If you want to find me on any of my other socials, I no longer have a Twitter, but I do have a Blue Sky, which is eternal_savvy as well. And you can also find me on Twitch, where I stream art and video games, and hopefully some more tabletops soon as well. Again, at eternal_savvy. The only place where that's different is on my YouTube VOD channel, which is staying_savvy. Also, I just want to prompt everybody who is listening that if you have been enjoying the series, then if you're on YouTube, it is a massive, massive help if you throw a like onto the video and comment, even just, a small comment of just, a few words or whatever. It doesn't have to be crazy. It tells the algorithm that this is something to show to people, and it is super appreciated. If you're listening to this on an RSS feed, then if they have a rating system on whatever app you're using, whether it be Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, any of that jazz, then if you can rate our show what you think it deserves, then that is also a massive help, because it shows people that, there are people listening, and it's going to help out one way or another. And, of course, if you want to be part of the fan art carousel, which you are seeing on screen right now, and you have drawn some wonderful art for us, then you can show that to me over on Blue Sky by tagging it with hashtag Heart of Hope and by tagging me in the post as well. Or if you're in our Discord server, you can also just post it in the fan art channel in the Discord server. Right. With that, I believe that is pretty much everything. So as per the usual, I will let us get back to the episode. Hope you all have a good one. Bye-bye. So, the three of you, various levels of frustrated or clouded heads. Primarily Vex seems to be the one who's, I believe, on a pretty nasty state of affairs considering your bloodthirst. Could I get a quick before we get into any kind of conversation here, could I just get a quick little tally of how many points of bloodthirst you all have open? And I believe we just need to make sure as well that you have the bond with Vex if you haven't got it already.
Yeah, because that was I know I mentioned that to you before. And
yes.
At the time you said to make it so that it had a max of 2.
Yes, because you are just acquaintances. Well, you've only just met, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can I get a roll call? Can we start with Asura, go to Hyde, and then go to Vex on all of your remaining bloodthirst, please?
Gotcha. Let me see. I think I have 8 remaining, so 7 before the last one puts me in the bad zone.
Cool. Hyde.
I think I have 10 remaining. I haven't been spending madness.
That's
and so
right.
all of my fetters are at 0.
Yes, that's right. And what about you, Vex?
I'm at 15 out of 26. With the one we cleared after the last fight, I'm at 1 out of 3 with Nyx, but every single other one is 1 point away from being full.
Righto. Noted. Right, so yeah, you are pretty much on breaking point, and you can feel that you're kind of barely holding on. No, you aren't getting any, like, bad thoughts or any, like, nasty kind of habits, or none of your nasty habits are kind of coming to the surface that might, hinder you here. But you can definitely feel you've definitely been feeling that haze of battle, and it's not been fading, which, despite your best efforts in conversation, I imagine it's because you just don't know them particularly well, and you are normally a lone wolf anyway. But Azul, you assume, the enigmatic figure at the top of this tower, stands up, approaches, and says, "There is no need for us to resort to violence immediately."
Fuck you and your parlay. You think you can pull this shit? Just, there won't be any consequence at all.
That is precisely why we desire to speak. There is more to this than you might understand, and we are here to elucidate on these terms we have been given. Are we to assume that this one speaks for all of you, or should we listen to all in the room? They gesture to Asura and Hyde as well.
Asura grits her teeth, an audible crunch and a clack, grinding of metal. I'm getting pretty annoyed myself, to be honest. What do you say, Hyde?
Hyde, hands in his pockets, simply stares ahead. He looks to his sides at Asura and Vex, who seem to be raring for a fight. Looks to Azul. Personally, I'd be willing to partake of this parlay if the promise is that it goes better than the last one. Though, I am assured that no matter what happens, He, like, sort of, like, cracks his neck. The situation will be dealt with either way. I don't see a reason to, at the very least, spare a little bit of effort. What do you have to say? Hyde isn't necessarily, like, is obviously attempting to mind to the desires of the two with him, but as he is so supposedly at least calm and level-headed, he has this air of confidence, which is, even if they attempt to spring a trap on us or this goes bad, he has no doubt that we can handle this.
And, you being amenable to talking is all Azul seems to need, as, they do seem to realize that they are kind of on thin ice here, though. They don't approach, they don't get any closer. They kind of just very gently put their arms out to the side in a kind of show of faith of, like, you know, not trying to be aggressive here. And they go, "We will accept this. We understand that you perhaps have certain ideas of what we are like, what they of clay are like. And we do not blame you. But we assure you that we are perhaps the one and only chance you will receive to speak cogently with us." And they kind of gesture towards themselves. "We know not if you have much knowledge of the inner workings of our people, of those who consider themselves among our number, but we have been fighting for some time now, inwardly, all of us. But in that time, 3 have come forward as potential leaders. You might guess, correctly so, that we are one of them." They gesture to themselves once again. "The other 2, however, Ambrosia and Lottie, I guarantee you they have no such illusions of negotiation. They are greedy. They are hungry. And perhaps most dangerously, ambitious. We seek only the well-being of our people, only our own desires met and no more. And we understand how this all appears. Violent takeover. Occupation. It paints us in a poor light." They kind of stride off to the side and kind of gesture lightly towards Godman and the other one who's here. "And despite some of our members' more hot-blooded natures, we truly believe that our members, amongst these ranks, the ones who follow us," gesturing to themselves once more, "are more cogent and less dangerous. It is for this reason that we have struck a bargain with the collectors, and it is for this reason that we desire to speak with you. We know what you are, and we know the position you hold in this city."
So what? Vex. Her posture eerily relaxed, but coiled like a spring at the same time, just glares towards him. "So we're supposed to believe that whatever fucked up flesh towers the other people in your little group make are worse than this one, that this one is less bad, that this is this is your best foot forward?"
Yes, quite plainly. We are showing, in perhaps a somewhat twisted way, we aim to provide for this city. Lottie, Ambrosia, you say that their towers would perhaps be more aggressive by my own logic. That is not what we intend to get across. What we intend to say is there would be no Grow Tower with either of them. Their aims, their ambitions, lie only in dominion. Lie only in subjugation and forceful conversion of all the unwilling. Azul kind of gestures towards the fleshy one of their cohort that's with them. We understand that we have been, less than agreeable with those who have entered our tower. But Nissa, their abilities, their capabilities, we seek only to enact them upon those that would come to oppose us. Lottie and Ambrosia have no such desires, no such morality. We understand that the city is built upon rules, twisted rules. Rules which are set out by people of questionable desires, but nonetheless, whether it is honor, family, money, or simply business, all seek to protect the common man. Lottie and Ambrosia, we have no faith in them.
Well, I got news for you, buddy. Even if the three of us were stupid enough to just take everything you say on faith, what do you think that means? That we just walk out of here, let you have the tower, or that you just walk away, crawl back into whatever hole you came from, only to cause trouble again the next time? The thing about this city is that what you're saying about self-defense, keeping to your own, that's how it always fucking starts. And suddenly you still have three gangs who control the whole city, who constantly go to war with each other over nothing. And you know, you're right. There are rules, they're twisted ones, but they're still rules. If somebody breaks your rules, that's just gonna mean that there's fucking flesh everywhere and brain-dead puppets running around. Just the same as anything else.
Yes, just the same as always. Why then are we denied?
I don't know why I was expecting anything different. For even a second. She sort of squats down slightly for a second, sort of laughing to herself a little bit under her breath. This parlay, huh? All you can bring yourself to talk about is how you're a little bit nicer than your other guys, huh? That's what makes you so special? You're willing to talk to us? Let me get this straight, Swarm. She stands back up. You think that just because you're a diplomat, you can talk, huh? You think that makes you any better? The intentions speak for themselves. You go take control of this whole goddamn source. Source of life, food, one of the only things people can have here. Take it over for yourself. Kill anyone that comes through and convert them all the same as these people that you're complaining oh so much about. And what? Just because you can hold a conversation for a little bit longer than some others, think that puts you above them? Think that justifies your acts anymore? You think we don't see what you're doing here?
Godman, at this point, you hear the grim shifting and cracking and popping of flesh and ligaments and bone as he literally rolls his shoulder into place, and his chest cavity is tightened by Nissa, the other one, with him. And he kind of looks up to all of you and just goes, Godman has seen them. Godman knows what they're capable of. You defeat us here. You somehow kill God. You'll have the devil to deal with. Nissa, kind of very timidly at this point, you hear the jingle of the bells, and just goes, We really mean that we don't mean any ill will towards the citizens of this city. We were citizens. We only sought to ascend, and you don't know what they're like. You haven't seen the worst of what they have at their disposal. Please, I'm begging you, just hear us out a little longer.
If they're so bad, why are you working with them then?
We aren't! Azul kind of raises their hands to, like, calm Nissa a little bit. And, Godman, you can see, was kind of snarling and rearing themselves up at that.
Hyde looks to Asura just for a moment, as though to say, like, hold it. Just hold it. And then looks ahead. To pick out something other than arguments of what's better and what's worse, you said an agreement with the collectors?
Yes, we did.
What does this agreement entail?
To keep it concise, we were given this grow tower. They would provide some kind of resistance for appearances. In exchange, when granted proper borders, when we expand out with their help, we assist them in taking down Section C. And when that takes place, once our presence is established, we hand them the factories. And in exchange, their doctors are ours, as are their territories.
Hyde's eyes narrow slightly as he stares at Azul, though in a strange sense, he can tell that it's not, or they, so to speak, can tell that Hyde's anger isn't necessarily pointed at them. So you're saying the collectors misled not only Vex, but I and Asura as well, to put up a front of resistance?
Not like we didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Godman at this point speaks up and just goes, We didn't understand what you were capable of before today. For a brief moment down there, I thought you might have the power to rival God, to rival me. But I realized, as I sat here, you represent something different. You aren't gods of the city. You're caged. Caged just the same as the rest of them. The only difference is you have more access to the zoo. Of course they're using you.
Vex takes a deep breath, almost seeming to calm down slightly, but when she opens her eyes, they're even more red than before. Listen up. Debates about what's better or worse or what the fuck ever in this city are pointless. And frankly, I'm tired of them. People kill, eat, mutate, warp, rip each other apart every goddamn day. So, you know, maybe this shit you're doing, fine. Maybe it is beautiful in some twisted, fucked up way, but it doesn't matter. The fact is, you're just the new kids to the table. And when you make a deal to meet with the Reapers, she extends her scythes, points one of them towards Azul. You get repped. Shit. She, like, suddenly looks down a bit.
Hyde's eyes are shaded as he looks down, like...
Really? Come on.
I thought it would come to me. whatever. I'm sick of this bullshit. We have a job to do, so let's just do it already.
I think we should talk about this a little more. He turns his eyes to Vex and Asura. Our job is currently bogus. We were given this request to get rid of these guys for the sake of the collectors. And no matter what happens here, they get rid of a few dredge, or they get rid of they have clay, or what? They humiliate us by us leaving? I don't know what the correct solution here is, but I honestly, I'm not sure. Gah. He puts a hand on his face.
You nonetheless bring up a good point, though. And the three of you, I think all of you at this point do, like, with Hyde saying that, yeah, this is just sort of this is kind of perfect for the collectors. They have orchestrated things in such a way that they will get their way one way or another. The thing which is the strangest here is that they would be willing for one of those options to be 3 dredge dying. But you get the feeling they probably know that that's far less likely than the other options.
It doesn't matter if it's bogus. There's no alternative.
Asura takes a step towards Hyde and just in one swift motion sort of grabs him by the scruff, right? Drags him in, pulls them so they're face to face, forehead to forehead with a, crack, a smacking of their skulls between each other. Listen here, Hyde. I don't care if they've set this whole thing up. What happens if we leave, huh? They think they can do whatever they want? And they have this whole new thing going on, right? Oh, not to mention the fact they get to keep this grow tower corrupted, under their influence, however they want to do. Who knows what other kinds of things they're going to be planning here, huh? Huh? We take them down here, we know what's going on, and we can act on it.
But the way they've been modifying the grow tower has been arguably more efficient.
I don't care how efficient it is. It could be a pile of rubble on the ground, but it's the food, it's life, it's what the people here got, and if they have it, they're in control. Doesn't matter if it's the most well-oiled machine, we have to tear all that efficiency down.
For who? The collectors? For what?
To get paid. Aren't you used to this by now?
I am. But I see no point in doing a job for someone who isn't going to show us basic decency. Basic professionalism.
Well, how about this, Hyde? I know the two of us don't always see eye to eye on this, right? But that's one thing I can agree on. These guys are taking us as jokes. They think that, just trying to be a diplomat, that alone is gonna be enough to make us, ignore any of the things they're doing, huh? I don't care if you don't see a reason for it. We're already up here. Even if we do leave, and they were to let us go, you think it's gonna end there? You think they won't take that as a sign of what they can do to us? Anyone else? Why don't we take out that aggression about how they're treating us back at them? Complete the job, free the tower, and get the best that we can out of an unwinnable situation, huh? If nothing's gonna win, may as well break everything that's the worst part of it.
I have a suggestion. Hyde's eyes are shadowed as he says, as he seems to agree a little bit with you, Asura. We fight. But I say we weigh their worth in blood, rather than just killing them. Whether we are allowed to leave or not, it shows a stain on our record. The collectors want a show. We'll give them one, and then we'll get ours when the time comes.
It does occur to you, just because I want to confirm, I want to, like, you know, in the world confirm some stuff. Killing them here would most certainly be playing into their plans, that is true. But what Hyde suggested, leaving them alive and making a show of it, dragging them outside to all the collectors who aren't in on the game, and making an example. Now that sounds like something that's a pretty big win for the Dredge.
What exactly are you suggesting, Hyde?
Whether we get the 3 here and in on it or not, I say we fight. Or maybe, if they're willing, we pull them from the Grow Tower, bring them out as though they're dead, say we'll dispose of them, set them off somewhere else. In our hands we have the gratitude of a very powerful group, and we still circumvent the coming of the other 2 they mentioned. I'm not fully afraid of the idea of those 2 popping up, but any ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure, I think.
If we let them go, they're gonna crawl back to whichever collectors they originally made the deal with, and they're just gonna come up with some other plan to wage war on Section C, and it's not gonna be like we did anything.
Could I have Asura and Vex make a roll for me, please?
Sure.
I'm going to give that to you, Asura, because you're experienced, and you are one of the older Dredge, so I should have given you a bonus there.
Sure.
You hear Hyde's suggestion, and, you know, you can obviously have your issues with it or whatever, but there is one part which absolutely rings true to you, and like, you don't have to act on this. I'm just telling you, like, what your sensibilities as an experienced Dredge would tell you.
Sure.
If there are 3 leaders who have currently risen from, you know, below the chaff and into the ranks of actual, like, leadership in They of Clay, and 2 of them seem to be fairly similar from what it sounds like, Azul being in the mix would just cause more chaos and delay things. Hyde is right about that. If there's one thing you've seen time and time again, it's that infighting is poison to leadership.
Asura turns to Vex. Listen, I hate this guy sometimes too. She like, you know, looks back over, points to Hyde. But he's right about something. This is their plan. Trust me, I'm not good at pulling my punches. If we're fighting, it's gonna go how it's gonna go. If this guy's around, they clearly don't like their other guys. One little crack in the foundation is all it's gonna take for an avalanche. And if either way, there's gonna be a war, may as well keep any level of structural instability in their weaponry available as long as possible. So how about this, huh? We're gonna do this however we do it. If they die, oh fucking well. But if Hyde manages to, talk some sense into us, she air quotes, we can use that.
All of this does assume we even fucking believe anything this guy's saying.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying he's completely lying about all the infighting bullshit, but the whole lack of ambition, we just want to live in peace bullshit, smells like bullshit.
Oh, yeah, load. Someone that wants to live in peace like that wouldn't go ahead taking over some place like this, doing what they did to those people down there. I'm not saying they ain't spouting bullshit, but what I'm saying is that if there's even an ounce of truth in that bullshit, there might be some value in what our good pal over here's saying. She looks back over to Hyde. Even if I don't fucking like it.
He's just like standing there.
Well, one other issue. You might be bad at pulling your punches, but I have never been able to. She looks back to Azul, who I assume is like reading a magazine at this point.
Azul is patiently sat in the like makeshift throne that they have, and you see Nissa is kind of sat in that like is sat on their feet, you know, in like the way that they do traditionally in Japan, and Godman is somewhat characteristically pacing like a animal in a cage, ready to be loosed upon their enemy.
The most important secret conversation of their life is happening maybe 25 feet away from them, and it is scary.
She looks to Azul. I'm guessing your grand scheme requires that you keep a hold of this tower?
Yes.
No matter what any of us want, or what we end up doing here, that's the one part of this that can't happen. Because our job, whether it's by eliminating you, or driving you out, or whatever, is to get this grow tower back. So unless you're willing to compromise, if I had my way, this would already be over. But considering we're in disagreement over what to do, maybe we're willing to compromise if you are.
At this point, it is very clear that Asura is, in parallel to Godman, getting very, very impatient.
They're both crouch spamming over the side.
Yeah.
Can I get a roll from all of you?
Yeah, sure.
Because I now know what's gonna happen. Right. I think this is perfect. The Iron Asura pacing and ready for a fight is no longer sound of mind enough to give a fuck about what is going on anymore, right? You've kind of got this thing in mind now of like, if we kill them, we kill them. And if we spare them, we'll make an example of them out on the street, and that's that, and like, cool, everybody wins. But you're ready to fucking make heads roll. Hyde, however, and Vex, you both understand that there is obviously a lot of nuances here. And Azul has this almost imperceptible change in stance as they kind of begin talking. The only way that you could really describe it is like they cock their head as if they understand something. They ponder for a moment, just a moment, and seem to resolve to accept whatever happens. There is this overwhelming feeling that they are at peace more than anything. And Azul, with this new attitude, turns towards their cohort and says somewhat cryptically, "You both understood the risks of being here with us, yes?" Godman, seemingly taken aback, you see a side of Godman that you had not seen up to now, where they for a moment stop pacing, like turn their head towards Azul's, which is just this clutter of butterflies, and they kind of stop for a moment and just goes, "I told you, God can't die." And then Nissa goes, "I'm with you to the end." Azul looks to the three of you and goes, "Then what happens is up to fate." I would like to begin combat.